for people who are lesbian and gay, for people who may come here as immigrants. That's the legacy of the 20th century, of your parents and my parents, and maybe some of you in this audience today. You worked and you fought. And because of it, when we got the baton, things were better. And we had our challenges, and we had our problems, but things were better. They had advanced. So we have to ask ourselves, when we hand off the baton, when it's our turn to hand off the baton, will we have figured out and successfully restructured the American economy so that it can produce jobs and prosperity for all? Will we have confronted the challenge of a high school dropout rate, which is simply a moral outrage and a catastrophe for this nation? Will we have confronted that the new economy and technology and life sciences and green jobs don't bypass America's urban communities, don't bypass the neighborhoods that are in need, but are a tool to rebuild those communities and those people? That's our challenge, and we have to embrace that challenge as a nation. On the front lines of the Urban League, across the nation, we operate on optimism and hope, on a view and a feeling that anybody with the right opportunity and with an open door and a commitment can make it, with the idea that a nation that is committed to a better life for all of its people will be a better nation for all of its people. We operate on that vision. We certainly share that vision with you. Cleveland is a great city, experiencing tough times. But I challenge you to talk and say what's good about Cleveland while not running away from your problems and your challenges. And think about the great future of this city and this region and this nation along with us. So I thank you all for listening to me today. Appreciate it. Great to be here.
Thank you so much. Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to Marc Morial, President of the National Urban League. We will return to our speaker in a minute for our traditional City Club questions. We encourage you to formulate your questions for our speaker and remind you that your questions should be brief and to the point. We welcome all of you here and those listening to WCPN 90.3 FM, WCLV, WTAM, or one of the many radio stations across the country. Radio broadcasts of the City Club are made possible through the generous support of Case Western Reserve University. Our television broadcast partners are WVIZ PBS Idea Stream and Time Warner Cable. Television broadcasts are supported by National City, now part of PNC, and Cleveland State University. Closed captioning is supported by Nordstrom Corporation. Our live webcasts are supported by the University of Akron. Today's forum is the annual Sidney D. Josephs Forum on the Bill of Rights. This endowed forum was made possible by a generous gift from Mr. Joseph's family. We are pleased to welcome to our forum today students who are here as part of our City Club student program. Participation of these students is made possible by a generous grant from the Jeffrey David Epstein Memorial Fund. Today we welcome students who are here through the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Will our student guests please stand and be recognized? Also today we are pleased to welcome guests at tables hosted by Baker Hostetler, Charter One, Dominion East Ohio, Key Bank, National City, now part of PNC, the City Club Diversity Committee, and the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Now we would like to return to our speaker for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphone today is PR and Programs Manager Carrie Miller and Assistant Development Director Marcella Brown. First question, please.
Sidney Josephs would have been very proud and honored to be here today, and many of us wish he were still here. My question is, I've joined and belonged to certain groups such as the ACLU and the Southern Poverty Group to preserve our constitutional rights, and I also belong to the NAACP. But I had the feeling that the Urban League was a consortium of very important black people and corporate leaders. And I was awed by that, and I felt happy that they were working together to create employment opportunities and so on. But I never felt that I could be a member or even aspire to that. And no one asked me to be in those days.
Well, first of all, but I'm going to nominate you for membership now.
Okay. I knew you'd...
We have a form to fill out. In fact, I'll fill it out for you.
I knew you'd say that. And at the City Club, we say, we'll consider it. We question everything. So, but the issue that comes to my mind is the organizations that I mentioned and many other organizations are superb workers for justice in this nation. And is it possible that we should delineate the function and the interplay of them, and that they should work together more closely, and maybe even at the risk of you losing your job, that there might not be the need for as many?
It's a fair question, and it's asked all the time. I think that in a nation like ours, where you've got 300 million plus people, you will find that many of us share and have overlap in our mission. But we do very different work, or work on very different, utilize very different tactics to accomplish our work. For example, the National Urban League is a civil rights mission-driven organization. But we are not primarily a community organizer as such. When I say not primarily, what do we primarily do? We primarily serve people in direct services programs. So in 2008, we served 2 million people nationally. What are those programs? Job training programs, after-school programs, housing, home buyer education programs. And so we work with the NAACP primarily on public policy issues. And at the local level, you'll find a great intersection. For example, today at the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, the president of the NAACP chapter here in Cleveland is here, and he was at the meeting, and very, very pleased, and want to publicly thank him because he stood up and said, I strongly support the Urban League. We need that presence here. Here's what I've learned from sort of being in the space. There's probably more cooperation than meets the eye. We probably need to do more to show and convey a public united front around these issues. And here's the other thing. These challenges that you spoke about, protecting the Constitution, protecting the concepts of individual rights and liberties, we need as many people on the battlefield as possible, being vigilant, because I can assure you that there are those out there who are working adverse to these principles or have a different vision of what the Constitution means. And so we need more soldiers in the battles, and I think that the ACLU and the NAACP and the Urban League, we need to be larger, we need to be stronger, we do need to work together, but I hope one day, honestly, that there'll be perfect equality and justice in this nation, and the Urban League can go out of business. But we're a long way from that today.